In this video, let's delve into how to set the price for OpenRide using our admin panel. OpenRide is a convenient solution created for users who travel to fixed locations regularly, such as commuting to work. Its purpose is to promote shared mobility and minimize environmental impact. Let's begin by setting the price for these kinds of rides. Let's delve into it. First, click on Business Info. After that, select the Set Price option. You will see options to add pricing for different ride types, but our focus is on OpenRide. You should click on the Add button. Here, you'll see several fields required to set the price for OpenRide. You will then view fields for defining a set of fees for a specific city of a particular type. At this juncture, you will need to add a country. For our example, we will select United States of America. Then, designate a city for specific pricing. For instance, choose California from the provided list to ensure pricing is tailored to this specific location within the designated country. Next, once the city is defined, you will encounter different price types: normal, carpool, and OpenRide. For example, the carpool option is for ride sharing, while the OpenRide option is for creating a trip for sharing on time purposes. Proceed with the normal option for regular customers. Now, let's select OpenRide. Specify a vehicle type by choosing sedan. This selection enables users to establish trip pricing for a sedan, specifically in a city. As users initiate a trip, they can view the sedan pricing for the designated city, facilitating transparent information on trip costs. Following that, proceed to the price configuration where various fields are available. Initially, focus on the driver profit field. Here, you can establish the driver's profit percentage for each trip. By setting the profit percentage, the driver receives a portion of the trip amount as their earnings when the profit is finalized. Then, define the distance for the base price. We've established a fixed distance for the base price, indicating that the distance needs to be specified for computing the initial price based on the covered distance. After that, we set the base value for the distance. In this step, we establish a fixed value for the specified distance range. For example, if we set the base price to 10 from 2 kilometers, any trip within 2 km will be charged at this fixed rate. Considering whether the customer travels 1 km or 2 km, the price will be calculated based on the established base price of 10. Establish the pricing structure based on distance traveled. For instance, set the initial price for the first 2 kilometers at 10. Then, establish the per unit distance rate, such as 5 per additional kilometer. This allows for calculating the total trip price based on time and distance traveled. Then, establish the per unit distance rate, such as 2 per additional kilometer. This allows for calculating the total trip price based on time and distance traveled. Introduce a time-based pricing component by setting the rate at 1 per minute. For instance, during periods of heavy traffic where time becomes a significant factor, this rate will be applied. This dual pricing structure enables the computation of the overall trip cost, factoring in both time spent and distance covered. The following field is Min Fare, representing the minimum charge for a trip. The purpose of the minimum fare is to ensure a minimum amount is taken from the customer for the trip. For instance, if the min fare is set at 15 and the fixed fare for a trip is 23, the min fare will apply. This is applicable regardless of whether the actual trip cost is 12 or 13. Following that, we have the baggage allowance field. Here, we can set the maximum number of bags a passenger can have. The next field is vehicle capacity, where we define the maximum number of passengers a vehicle can carry. For example, let's set it to 50. Finally, we'll move on to tax settings. There are different types of settings for tax, like customer tax, driver tax, and many more. Here, we can also add some other fees like customer driver, miscellaneous fees, and cancellation fees. In this setup, we offer cancellation fees as a deterrent to customers who frequently misuse our platform by creating and canceling trips. The cancellation fee kicks in when the customer initiates the trip, the driver accepts it, and is all set to head to the pickup location. Opting to cancel the trip at this point incurs a cancellation fee. Enable a tax option allowing the setting of a percentage. Taxes, functioning to fund government activities without causing inflation, support public infrastructure, development, and welfare projects. Utilize these settings to implement a service tax calculated as a percentage, charged to customers based on the total trip cost. Following that, we establish customer miscellaneous fees. This field is designed to collect various charges from customers, such as service fees, booking charges, and other similar fees. We can also configure customer taxes. This feature is typically employed to collect various taxes from customers worldwide. It allows us to set different taxes for customers based on specific criteria. Afterward, we've covered some of the use cases for driver miscellaneous fees in our product. This section is created to gather diverse charges from drivers. You can use miscellaneous fees to deduct certain fees from the earnings received by your drivers, including service fees, fees for initiated trips, and other similar charges. We can set up driver taxes to collect different taxes from drivers around the world. This helps us apply specific taxes based on certain criteria for each driver. Moving on, you'll notice the business zone and surge over settings. The purpose of these toggles is to turn on or off customers' ability to create and view trips with specific circumstances. For instance, the toggle on option would enable customers to create a trip for OpenRide in California in a sedan. The most crucial aspect of these settings is the business toggle. This toggle is employed to authorize a specific type of business in a particular city. For example, in California City, we can set prices for sedan types. When the toggle is switched on, we can conduct business, and customers can view this type in that city with all the specified details. However, if the toggle is switched off, we do not offer this type of business in that city. Next, we proceed to set up the zone business. The zone business involves designating specific areas, such as bus stations, popular landmarks, and even zones like airports or railway stations. This toggle allows us to authorize fixed pricing for these designated zones within the city. When the toggle is switched on, we can apply fixed pricing for the specified zones. However, if the toggle is turned off, we cannot apply zone pricing for the added zones in the city. Next, we grant permission for surge hours. Surge hours are designated for times when there is a high demand for taxis, typically during rush hours, peak periods like special events, or inclement weather even, and when there are fewer drivers available. During surge hours, consumers may experience an increase in prices. In this setting, we have the ability to configure surge hours for specific days and times. Finally, you have successfully set up the price for a specific city and type within our admin panel. Click on Submit button to save it. You can also add surge pricing based on the days during peak hours, as well as we can also add pricing for zone to zone, city to city, and airport to city. That covers how to add a price for OpenRide using our admin panel. I appreciate your time and attention in viewing this video. Thank you for watching.